everybody, it's me, your friendly neighbor, and I have a question for you. Who is our Arachnid lad's arch nemesis? Some may say the Emerald Elf, others may say Mr. Hentai Man, and only the most based will say his own fucking writers. But I would like to present to you something that not even Emin Stash the Candlestick Man will tell you.
Oh, boss, look!
MJ wants you back!
Where?
What if your worst enemy knew all your ins and outs, your morning routine, that jog you always take, the way you like your burger prepared at Wendy's, because of course the base way they do it just doesn't cut it? And what if your worst enemy knew you better than you know yourself? What if that worst enemy was Uncle Terry? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I meant Venom. Venom was introduced all the way back in the Amazing Spider-Man 300. He's a combination of two characters, the symbiote and Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock was a journalist who was trying to break in a story about the Sin Eater and mistakenly platform a glory seeker who falsely confessed to the murderer's crimes, only for Eddie's story to get screwed over because not too long afterwards, Spider-Man caught the real Sin Eater. And for some odd reason, this one story ruined Eddie's entire career and reputation. I don't know, maybe journalism was a lot more cutthroat back then, where it was way worse if you got a story wrong. Or maybe I'm just so used to people getting stories or facts wrong and essentially getting little to no pushback, allowing them to get away with it. Something about that seems eerily familiar, and I can't put my finger on it. He's been a mainstay Spider-Man character ever since. He's been in comics, video games, he's literally about to round his own trilogy, but I'll talk more on that later. Venom is regarded as at least top 5 of the Spider-Man enemies list. But he's not really a supervillain in the sense that he wants power or fame. He just wants to get back at Spider-Man for getting burned. At least that's what he's supposed to be, but you know what? I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. You know what? No, I think I'll cross it now. Venom as a character has been wildly bastardized in order to be reintroduced to modern audiences. Either he becomes an irredeemable piece of shit villain whose goals extend way beyond the scope of fucking with Spider-Man, or become a goody two-shoes anti-hero who's such an obnoxious take on the character, every time I see praise of them, it makes me physically ill. But enough ramblings, let's talk about toys. He's got a lot of figure renditions over the years, spanning across different versions of the characters. The one I'll be taking a look at will be wildly based off of his first appearance all those years ago. The Medicom Mafex number 88 Venom. But of course, there's a catch.
You always say there is a catch. How about you catch these hands, dummy?
When the fuck did you break out of containment, you fucking bitch? That shit is over $100. And I'm so poor, when I walk down the street, the homeless offer me their spare change. So, bootlegs anyone? Yes, everyone, I, your lord and savior of the bootleg market, am going to pony up my hard-earned $25 to see if this Mafex clone is worth your $25. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what I have to say about the figure.
Spider-Wars! Come out and play!
Attack! Painting and sculpting is,
Wow.
Yep, he's surprisingly clean. You'd have to really squint and stick your face directly into him to find any real defects, and of course that I did. On the lower half of the spider in the back, you can tell the decal is a bit off. But it's actually mind-blowing how good this KO looks. You can even see a hint of blue shading amongst the black, just like he was drawn in the early comic books. Oh, speaking of which, you wanna know something funny? In the early days, comics were printed on what is basically loose-leaf paper, but as a consequence, they couldn't really convey certain light effects on characters wearing dark clothes. The only way they could get around this was highlighting the areas with blue, and this worked perfectly. Until Spider-Man 2099 happened. This character suffers a lot from the Mandela effect. In the canon of the original comics, he's described wearing a black suit. But considering 2099 is a dystopian future with bright-ass neon lights, the majority of the suit was always lit up with blue. This has caused the biggest misconception in all of comics that Miguel's suit is blue. I will never understand how the hell that happened, but hey, here we are. And we're so used to the blue suit that we actually prefer it over the black original. This Venom specifically is based off of his first appearance, drawn by Todd McFarlane. And I must say, they definitely did a good job of capturing that. I've seen some people complaining about this Venom not having monstrously large proportions, and to that I say,
Shut the fuck up!
this just looks like a guy who's wearing an alien skin suit. He's not aggressively buff, nor does he look like an eldritch abomination. Yeah, I'm about to go there. I'm about to drop the hottest Spider-Man hot take I've seen since my belief that Spider-Man's web shooters should be organic. I do not like Monster Venom.
What?
I do not care for Monster Venom designs.
What?
Really?
I absolutely, positively despise Monster Venom designs. I will never understand the appeal of an overtly buff, monstrous Venom. These designs stink, and I don't like them. Venom is supposed to be Spider-Man, but more violent. Do you know why Venom was originally bigger than Spider-Man? Because Eddie is bigger than Spider-Man. Eddie Brock's a fucking bodybuilder. I don't know exactly where this fad came in where Venom had to be obnoxiously big, but I absolutely fucking hate it. Everything I hate about modern mainstream Venom adaptations share one thing in common. They're monster Venoms. Venom is supposed to be Spider-Man's dark reflection. Eddie is Mr. Hyde to Peter's Dr. Jekyll, the yin to the yang. Venom nowadays is so misrepresented in media as either irredeemable assholes whose goal overextend ruining Peter's life and making him miserable, or an overzealous cinnamon roll goofball that for some strange reason wants to save the fucking world despite the fact that he has no real motivation to. Fuck both of these adaptations of Venom. They never remotely resemble the core values of Venom as a character. In Sony Venom's case, Venom is missing the one core reason of his existence: Spider-Man! He completely just skips the villain arc where he menaces Peter Parker and just wants to save the world because apparently, on his world, he is the weakest of the symbiotes. Fuck you! Not to mention, they get symbiosis completely wrong. The movies portray Eddie and Venom as the perfect match, despite the fact that Eddie 100% has no control of what he does when he's suited up. But Carnage and Cletus Cassidy are the incompatible ones. God, you're such a disappointment. I can't wait till we can finally move on from your movies. And as far as design is concerned, he also doesn't have the chest logo. Just these weird white squiggly things that I don't like. And the symbiote CGI? Yeah, it looks like sentient semen. But at least he's not the equivalent of a fucking mini Hulk. Insomniac Venom is what you get when you say, I can do better than the original, and then completely shit the bed. Tony Todd's superb voice acting is completely wasted on this. I can't even call him one note, because what even is this shit? He wants to take over the world, which by the way, should never be a Venom motivation, ever, and his design being a hulking behemoth makes absolutely no sense, considering this version of Harry is the Twickish equivalent to sliced white bread. Oh yeah, this version of Venom isn't even fucking Eddie. How? Why are you bonded? Take that botched spider symbol off your fucking chest. You don't fucking deserve it. Is that the fucking King in Black? Oh, fuck you. Abso-fucking-lutely not. You did not earn this. You did this to jingle shiny little keys in front of Insomniac shows to keep them distracted from the fact your Venom is a fucking scam. Oh my God. And you know what? Since I'm feeling extra antagonistic today, I'm gonna drop this hot take too. Raimi Venom is the best adaptation we've got of the character because he actually fucking acts like 80s Venom. Hold on there, symbiote rage mode me. You were about to ramble for 5 more fucking minutes about how much you love Raimi Venom. It's not really a Spider-Man video if it's not me glazing Raimi, is it? Anyway, we're not here to talk about this shit. We're here to talk about an action figure, so let's stay on topic, okay? He legit looks like his comic self brought to life. And it also helps that he does not feel cheap in the slightest. He actually has some heft to him. Most bootlegs opt to using cheaper plastic, but not this guy. He's special. And his joints are really solid. There's no falling apart to be had anywhere. He's even got a soft pelvis to accommodate his posability. I know I said posability, but we are not there yet. Chill, so let's talk.
Surf the web, surf the web.
Shut up, Brock. We don't have time.
Of course, he's a bootleg of a third-party figure, so he comes with a lot of accessories. He's got fists, open hands, curled open hands, web-grabby hands, trigger hands for some fucking reason. He also comes with Mafex standard magnetic accessories that come with Spider-Man figures for his hands and feet. It's pretty easy to swap out the magnets, and they actually do work. They aren't total bullshit. They will stick to any magnetic surface. Thankfully, I decided to buy this TASM 2 Mafex magnetic wall to show this off. And to make it easier on me, he'll just keep the magnetic feed by default. It also comes with a few web accessories. These are a lot more different than the ones that usually come with Spider-Man figures. They can twist and contort into web swinging webs, just like how they twist around in the comics. And for heads, he's got a shark tooth grin, another head that comes with a slightly open mouth, and now a lot of people were complaining that this head sculpt didn't come with a tongue. I honestly don't mind because, once again, this version of Venom is based off of McFarlane's design. McFarlane never gave Venom that lashing tongue, and if I can be real with you for a second, he looks way better without the majority of the grotesque monster features. Last but not least, we have... okay. So, it's not 100% how he's supposed to look compared to the official counterpart, but it's still pretty clean, though he's got really squinty eyes and thick-ass lips. Kinda looks Blasian. Wait a minute. Roger, I think I found Arachnid's fucking Venom! He also comes with this Mafex stand. It has 3 hinges and a claw. However, mine's really loose, so I put sticky tack in it to tighten it up. Now you can pretty much go wild and swing poses. Alright, speaking of poses. The head's on a dumbbell joint so he can move up that far and look down that far. Of course, there is a swivel at the neck, butterfly joint at the shoulder, 360 rotation, arm can move out, bicep swivel here, double bend at the elbow, wrist swivel, wrist joint can move up and down, but if you turn to the side, it can move side to side. Got a wide range of torso articulation, including being able to crunch down this far and be able to arc back this far, though there's a bit of a gap, so don't, if that's going to bother you, then don't do it that far. And since these sections are on ball joints, you can do a swivel here and do a swivel here, drop down hips, kick up this far and move back this far, thigh swivel here, double bend at the knee, ankle swivel, up and down at the ankle. Of course, both sets of feet also do have a toe bend, and of course, an ankle pivot.
Poseability for this guy is amazing, top notch even. Even though Mafex poseability is inferior to SH Figuarts in terms of the hip articulation, the soft rubbery crotch piece actually does help get some poses across. Now, you're probably I'm not even going to say probably, you're inevitably going to get this Venom figure, so I think this next section is going to help you out a lot. So let's get right into...
End of the line, Spider-Man.
Okay, so this is usually the segment where I talk about what could have made this figure better, but considering this is a bootleg, I'd rather help you guys out with any QC issues this guy has and how you can fix them. These fixes require sticky tack, multi-purpose oil, and of course, a screwdriver. For issues, let's start off with my Venom's hip joints, specifically the ball socket joints. They were very tight to the point where I almost had myself another CT Torby incident. This is very easily fixable. Just put a dab of multi-purpose oil in that ball socket area. Now, this will require you to have to take this top part off so you can access it easier. Put a dab in there, try to move it around. The oil will make its way through the joint since it's very thin. And now you will have full range and ball jointed motion back out of your hips. Now, some people have actually suggested I use silicone grease because that's also a method that won't damage the plastic. With all due respect, my method works perfectly the way it does, so it's going to keep being my go-to method. Another thing worth pointing out is these hip thigh swivels. Now, the right one works perfectly fine, but the left one is a bit uncooperative. It'll go in, but it will not go out. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out what was causing it. Hell, I even took it off and even shaved down some of the plastic thinking that was the issue. But after taking off the other socket to see if anything was out of place, the left socket, as you can plainly see right here, is noticeably shorter than the right one. And that does kind of suck. That's why his leg wasn't really moving out. And sadly, I don't have a fix for this. Figure is still pretty poseable even with that defect, and it will work if you drop the hip down, but it's not the same. Though I will solely place the blame on this on Mafex's joint system, they will always remain inferior behind SH Figuart's pelvis articulation. A lot of people like to complain about the whole articulated butt cheek thing, but personally, it works perfectly for me. For example, look at the thigh swivel. It's way lower, and it's a lot more easily accessible, and it's way better. And you get a wider range of motion. And a lot of people like to complain about the butt cheeks, but like, it works. It just works. Like, are you really gonna complain about something when it works this well? And yeah, you can obviously see that the thigh swivel is much lower, most likely to avoid problems like what this guy has. And that's not even to knock Venom in general. All Mafex figures have like this soft diaper. And I wish they would kind of move away from that and try something like what SH Figuarts is doing. I'm not sure if they have a copyright pendant on fucking Articulation, but I would like to see Mafex figures try this type of articulation out. Another issue, most notably, is the ball sockets within like the chest and lower torsos, and it's the fact that they can be really loose. It was noticeably loose for me out of the packaging, especially in this lower torso. So I decided to pull it apart and put some sticky tack in like the ports, just enough to cause friction, not too much to where it'll pop off if I try to move it. And now I have tightness and range, and I still have the range of motion. It's just that now when I shake it around, it's not gonna fucking fall over. And since I'm feeling extra generous today, I'm actually gonna let you know about the issue when it comes to swapping heads. When it comes to KO figures, it's always a noticeable issue when it comes to swapping heads. They can be very tight and very difficult to remove. So to mitigate that, you can pop off the joint or head that you're trying to swap with. Grab that screwdriver that I had mentioned earlier. You can stick it in there and twist it like once, twice, or 3 times. You don't want to do it too much because you don't want to make it too loose. And now it is easy for you to swap heads. For example, this open mouth, it was very difficult to swap the head joint because 1, it will pop off into this head, and 2, it will be very hard to get the head back on. So now that I've done that fix, it will go on without any problems. See? And just to show you that it even works with the unmasked head, you can even do it with the unmasked head and it'll achieve the same result. You can achieve the same results. So now it's easier for you to swap heads and you don't have to worry about it being loose or falling off. Another thing of note is the joints. They can be really squeaky, but the best way to mitigate that is just, again, the oil. Just put a dab in there, move the joint around, and you won't hear any squeaking anymore. I'm pretty sure in the articulation segment you're going to hear a bit of squeaking if I leave the sound on, but now that I put some oil in it, the squeaking is basically gone. So yeah, that's good. Still sucks about the left hip though. Sadly, I can't find a fix for that. But if you're lucky, you probably won't have this issue. And if you do have this issue, it's not that bad.
We will have vengeance on Spider-Man!
Okay, now, here's the crazy thing. Usually KO figures are notably smaller than their official counterparts. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to see that this guy, he is at 6 inches. The official figure is like 6.5 inches tall, and honestly, the fact that this guy actually stands at 6 inches is fucking crazy for a bootleg. And you can get him to like 6.2 if you extend the hip joints, but that'll just look tacky. He is perfectly in scale with a lot of 1/12 scale figures. For example, here he is next to Marvel Legends Spider-Man 3 Venom, SH Figuarts Amazing Spider-Man, PW Toys Green Monster, Marvel Legends Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This one actually surprised me on how he's taller than a Marvel Legends figure. Third-party figures, bootleg or not, are usually smaller than Marvel Legends figures. Or maybe that's an SH Figuarts thing, because SH Figuarts makes their figures as close to the character's actual height in 1/12 scale. Marvel Legends first appearance Spider-Man, CT Toys Spider-Man 2099, my ArachnidYouth custom figure, and of course the SH Figuarts Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That this KO isn't scale at my Marvel Legends figures is already a feat in of itself. I wish other KO companies stayed within the official scale, or at the very least, make them where they match Marvel Legends scale. Now, let's wrap this puppy up and get to my... I give this figure an 8 out of 10. Especially if you have the original release KO, this is definitely worth the upgrade. I got mine for 22 bucks on AliExpress and I say it's worth it. Link will be down in the description below to exactly where I got mines, and I'm really glad the KO market is stepping its game up as of late. It's like they're slowly waking up to the cries of the people and are giving us figures we want for cheap. Now, I think it's time that I address something. Leading up to this video, I put out a community post stating that the CT Toys was doing a Mafex Venom, the Venom in question being the one I'm reviewing. One small problem, this is not CT Toys. Nope, it's a completely different Mafex bootleg company that is just simply called Maf. Yeah, I'm sure that'll keep the companies guessing. Now, the reason why I thought it was going to be CT specifically is because somebody told me they had a listing go up that was going to be a KO Mafex Venom. And when I asked where this was, I was told that they had it up at their own official store on AliExpress. And this grabbed my attention because I was trying to figure out if CT even had an official website or something I could get figures directly from, and I was directed towards Cuckoo Toy Store. At least we now know what the CT possibly stands for now. But this box doesn't say CT, it says Maf, and Maf has actually done this figure before, back when the original Mafex figure release came out. This figure is actually based around the reissue of the Mafex Venom. So this bootleg is a reissue of a bootleg of a reissue of an official figure. Talk about bootlegception. Now, the last couple of videos have been pertaining to bootleg figures, and I understand there is a stigma surrounding bootlegs being inferior to their original counterpart, and some people will look down on you for getting bootleg action figures as opposed to getting the original. My opinion on this is essentially now the same as my opinion all those years ago when people said playing mobile games doesn't count as being real gamers. Then I can go step on a fucking Lego. Life's too damn short, and the economy has gotten so much worse. Inflation has gotten so bad to where what I currently make wouldn't even be enough to cover a small apartment. Hell, it's a toss-up if going to school is even worth it anymore, because I'm currently studying to be an English teacher. And I keep hearing and seeing that teachers don't get a good enough pay, and kids have gotten worse to deal with since parents have been doing everything in their power to not discipline their children. This hobby is already cutthroat enough, and I'd honestly prefer taking any shortcuts possible as long as it means I get to achieve the same result. I've honestly been so resistant to give Mafex figures a try, solely because of how expensive they can be, and also the quality control issues I hear they have. And the resellers do not help in the fucking slightest. And let's be real, the KO market has been getting better and better with each release. It's like these guys are realizing that just because they're knockoffs doesn't mean they have to be dog shit. You don't need to break the bank to get quality. And there's no shame in substitutes. If you told 2018 me that we'd be getting knockoff bootleg figures that are just under the line of perfection compared to their official counterparts, I'd probably look at you like you're insane, but we're getting there. It's honestly near criminal that these bootlegs are getting so good. I think the only thing that's keeping them from their potential to be great is that maybe there's some bootleg laws in place that in order for KO action figures to be allowed to exist, they have to at least have some kind of defect or quality control issues that would at least make people reconsider getting a KO versus the real deal. But what are your guys' thoughts? Will you be picking up a Maf Venom? I'll be honest with you, it would be perfect if someone were to take this and make a Raimi Venom with it. Not so subtle foreshadowing.